It's time now for today's Focus Report, and we head to Russia today, a country in the grip of a fully fledged economic crisis. Well, Western sanctions have been biting, a problem compounded by the global collapse in oil prices. Well, the Minister for the Economy, Alexei Ulukeyev, has said the country is now out of recession. But for ordinary Russians, it doesn't feel like this situation is improving, and the crisis is deep enough to start affecting President Putin's popularity. Elena Voloshin and Thomas Lowe have this report.
Based in Moscow, the Civic Chamber is an institution responsible for mediating between Russians and their government. A hotline was opened in mid-2015, dedicated to complaints about unpaid wages. The operators receive dozens of calls a day.
The Civil Chamber, hello. How many months haven't they paid your salary?
How many months haven't they paid you?
Is that the total amount they owe you?
On average, we receive 1,000 calls a month across all the regions in Russia. The people making complaints work in business, in the social sector. There are manual labourers and even civil servants.
In Russia, officially 75,000 employees are waiting for unpaid wages. An industrial powerhouse at the time of the Soviet Union, this enormous train carriage factory in Torjok jutted to a halt 6 months ago. For its workers, though, the problems started before that, in 2014.
They made us promises, you'll soon have your wages. First, you have to build the wagon. So we built them, but we got nothing. A month to two went past, then a new order came in, so we went back to work. Everyone thought things would turn out okay. We believed that for 2 years, but in the end we found ourselves out of a job.
Even before the crisis, railway factories were receiving only a small number of orders from the state railway company, which showed little interest in modernising its rolling stock. Then, when the state coffers started dwindling, the government stopped buying trains altogether, and the factories that make them are going bankrupt. For Sergei and the others, it's hard to find a job that pays enough to survive on.
The factories are closing. There is work, but the salaries are ridiculously low. We don't want to work for peanuts. We earned a good living 5 years ago, but today the wages are between 10 and 20,000 rubles a month.
That's about 150 euros at the lower end of the scale, and to try and earn a bit extra, Sergei works illegally in a car repair shop. His new boss, Alexei, was also employed at the wagon factory.
Hi, guys.
Alexei thinks the only way to keep his business ticking over is to keep the authorities at arm's length.
I could set up a business legally, but I'd need some starting capital to do that. If you take out a loan from a bank, you're finished. You'll never make a profit. Everyone gets by as best they can. Either you drive a taxi or you get a small business going.
More than 1,000 workers have lost their jobs at the Torjok wagon factory, but only 89 of them are registered at the town's employment centre. Here they're offered 10 to 60 euros in unemployment benefit per month. Most get by working in the shadow economy and don't register with state institutions, and that explains why the official unemployment figures stay exceptionally low, even in times of crisis.
The jobless rate was 1.1% on the 1st of February 2016. That's an increase of 0.2% on the year before. It's not much. Of course, I understand that once people get used to a decent salary, they find it hard to earn less with the work we offer them. But there it is.
The crisis is finishing off some long-standing industries that have been in slow decline. And it's snuffing out innovative businesses as well. Vitaly was the pioneer of virtual reality in Russia for a good 10 years. His turnover reached some 10 to 15 million US dollars a year before the crisis. But all that came to a sudden stop.
When the sanctions against Russia were put in place in August 2014, our business suffered a drastic drop in demand from abroad. Then the collapse of the ruble removed any possibility of selling in Russia.
The advanced parts of these machines were made abroad and had to be bought in dollars, so Vitaly's production costs skyrocketed.
If before our system cost 1 million rubles, now it goes for 2 million. It's impossible to set up a manufacturing company in Russia and sell innovative technology. The only option left is to sell merchandise.
3 years ago, a dollar was worth 30 rubles. Now it's worth 75. Few have suffered more from the fraught financial situation than these people. The Russians who took out mortgages in US dollars in the good times and now hold almost daily protests. Today, they're blocking the street in front of the central bank. Banks lent them money in dollars at attractive rates. They now have to pay back triple what they borrowed, and the banks are threatening to seize their homes.
We didn't expect this because all the TV channels said the situation in the country is stable. I wouldn't have taken out credit if they'd told me the truth back then, but they said everything was fine, that the situation was stable.
The police soon started making arrests. No laws in Russia protect borrowers from the volatility of the ruble. Some here saw the crisis coming. For others, it was a complete surprise. The Kremlin says the worst is over, but few Russians believe there will be a quick end to their hardships.